Hey, welcome to season 2. We are back. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, I'm excited for all of my faithful followers from season 1. And I just want to welcome you back. Listen, we have had so much happen. And as you know, today's guest it's just a whole different platform from what we've done before. But I'm excited because, listen, I got some feedback. Look, let's talk about the feedback that I got from last year. Everybody loves the show, right? So I'm excited. Thank you for sharing and being in it with us. But listen, somebody said to me, "Hey, look, I don't know if I find a place for myself in the show. Like, I come, I watch, I support you, I love your personality, everything's good, but I don't really know if I want to have my own business. But I do get little nuggets here and there." And so I kind of said, wow, boom, light bulb goes off. Let's talk to what people have told me, everyday people who want to do some simple things every day to stay outside of their lane. Boom. That's what we've done. We've married people who are just really they may even love what they do, right? But they may also have some other interests, which, I'm all about staying out your lane. So listen, if this is your very first time checking in with us, my name is Dr. Ferguson, and you are watching Stay Out Your Lane podcast. Thank you, KR. Thank you. I'm glad you can't wait. I'm excited to have you on. People are coming into the room. Please drop us a little something like season 2, something so we can see who you are, know that you're there, because there's only certain things I can see. So y'all got to work with me. I'm over 40 now, so I need all the help I can get. But listen, again, for those of you, this is your first time seeing the show, Stay Out Your Lane, SOYL, means soil. This is fertile soil, a place for you to grow and to learn. So S, we have stories every single week of people who have success, but also the struggle. We like to show the whole gamut of what you could go through as not only a business owner, but somebody who's thinking about it, or just considering changing their lanes, or just want to think about something different in their career, right? Oh, we always have an offer, something for you to be able to take away from what we're doing to implement into your own life. And I think with season 2, the way we're opening it up and the guests that we have, that we're matchmaking in business and career, everybody should be able to walk away with something. Why? Yield to the greatness that is within you. We all have it. You're waiting for a sign from the universe, from God, whatever it is. This is the sign. You can do it. Last but not least, L is for leverage. Leverage what you already have going on, right? To get where you want to go. So listen, without further ado, let's get into it, because I'm excited about tonight, because we are doing, like I said, something a little bit different. And it's okay, because you won't stay out your lane, right? So you can do whatever you want. My guest today, I coined it Deputy Goes Doula, or turns into a doula. But listen, this particular young lady, Miss Kashara Vivieca, she's been in law enforcement for over a decade. So she knows what it is. She is a wife, mother of 3, phenomenal spirit, just a beautiful person. Now, she'll tell you her story about the whole natural childbirth situation. See, that's a ministry I'm not about. That natural childbirth, it's okay, y'all can laugh. I don't care, because I'm not trying to be Superwoman. I never tried to be Superwoman, but this particular young lady is a little bit of Superwoman. So I'm gonna let y'all hear some of her story from her own mouth. And I want to let you guys know a little bit about what she's doing right now. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her in. Let's get her into the room. She'll be coming in just a second. Hey, Kashara.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Good. You looking beautiful as always.
Thank you. And I wore these earrings for you because you always have some beautiful, big earrings. So
thank you, girl. Listen, go big or go home, right? That's what they say. So listen, I just want to just say thank you for being on the show. And I'm excited because you have such an awesome story. And the thought, and first of all, the courageousness that you have to go from law enforcement, which some would just be like, wow, that's it, that's all. And to be courageous enough to say, I want to do something different. And not only are you talking about it, you're being about it. And so I'm excited for you, because we have some a beautiful person to share with you here that we brought. We're going to hold on to her for just a second.
Okay.
Girlfriend, tell us about who Kashara is, what she does, her job, her life. What's it like to be Kashara day in a life?
Well, I'm very busy. I have 2 children. Life. I'm also a sergeant in the police department that I work for. So I'm responsible all day, every day. Like I supervise people during the day, and I come home and even I supervise people. And I have a husband, so you know how that is. So just very busy. And on top of that, you know, I'm completing my childbirth educator course with Birth Arts International. So I have to find time to study and do that. And I'm also enrolled in a nursing program with Prince George's Community College. So I'm very busy. Very busy.
Listen, I was about to say, I'm waiting for you to just stop with the I'm doing, I'm in, I'm going. Wow.
Yeah. I just keep moving nonstop. But I always make sure I find time for my family. My husband and my children are my number one priority. And I always make sure I spend time with them. I'm there for every event for my children, and I'm tired, but you know, I make it work.
See, honey, like you already wore me out, and I have too. But you have to see me at the bus stop in the morning. Rolls window down. Yeah, like sometimes that's all the energy that I have to give. So I commend you for doing all of these things. And one of the other things I wanted to point out is that you said that you're already taking courses. And see, this is one of the things that I want to highlight, because a lot of times people get ideas, they get thoughts about things that they want to do, but they don't start. Like,
yeah. So I have a vision board.
You know? Yeah.
So if you're going to do something, you have, on my vision board, I have a quote, and it says, "A goal without a plan is just a dream." You can have
preach today too.
You know, it's just going to be a dream if you don't have a plan. Because if you don't have a plan, you're going to be all over the place. Yeah. And I do have a 17-year-old daughter. She'll be 18 on Saturday, and I told her this. Yeah, because you know she's going to be going into life. You know, it's going to hit her, and she's going to be an adult.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to do, just make a plan. Have a plan.
Plan. Yeah.
You may backslide or fall off or whatever, but have a plan B, and so you try to stay on the path that wherever you're trying to go.
Wisdom from a mom of 3. Listen, I'm really happy, like I said, again, to have you on the show, and I'm appreciative that you've been transparent enough to come on and say, look, I'm somebody, I don't have a business right now, but I've been doing something, and I need some help. And I think that asking for help is always another, like, top of the list type of thing when you're trying to stay out your lane. And, you know, that's one of the things that I always support and endorse. And we have a lot of good people. Hey, Karen, good evening. Thank you so much. Listen. People want to see the person, I won't say the underdog, but the person who has the fight in them really win and succeed. You understand? And so I'm so glad that we have this platform to be able to get you to the next level. What I want to do really quickly, without further ado, I want to introduce a very, very powerful young woman who I wanted to introduce you to, because this gives me all the gratitude, seeing you get what you need to get to the next level. A lot of times in our life, career, business, right? People who are on your seat, we just don't know. We have ideas, but we just don't know how to get them out there into the marketplace. We have these thoughts of things that we want to do, but we're not always really sure how can we get it done. So I brought a certified doula. Yes, she's a spiritual healer. She has a wealth of knowledge, a ton of experience. And I'm really excited to bring her up to you also. Hold on, let me.
I'm excited to meet her.
Well, yes.
Great, I'm excited.
Yes, let me see if I can get her in. Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah. Hello.
Let me bring her name up so I can introduce her properly. Look, you guys know I have so much stuff going on. And for those of you who are watching, again, thank you so much. Please share this Facebook Live with your friends. in your family, because I want people to know that there are good people in the world and that want to help and want to mentor and want to pour into other people. And that's what we're all about. At the end of the day, that's exactly why I started this podcast, to help you stay out of your lane. And the funny thing is, let me say this one last thing. It's so funny. I get so much stuff like in my DMs. Oh, you have to stay in your lane. And listen, let me just set the record straight right now. Yes, there are times that you have to stay in your lane, but you have to be courageous enough if the lane that you're in is not serving you in your purpose, is not giving you any passion, and is overall not where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because there are people that transition from being a janitor to being a judge, right? But they have to be courageous enough to say, let me find that comfortable spot, that place that I even want to stay in. And if you're not in that place, you need to stay out your lane so that you can find the lane that you're supposed to be in. And you never know, you may actually have a highway, multiple streams of income. All the millionaires, billionaires, that's what they have. It's not just a 9-to-5. So with that, Brittany, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so
much. I'm happy to be
much.
Here.
Well, I'm happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here too, Brittany.
I'm happy you're here.
All the knowledge you can.
Yes. Listen,
I'll be begging you.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yes. Well, see, listen, Brittany has a business, Illuminating Bliss Life Services. And I want you to tell us a little bit about your business. And then we're going to get into a little bit more why you're here. And I'm sure we may have a little surprise for you. So, Brittany, please let us know how you are doing.
Okay. Well, I started Illuminating Bliss towards the end of 2018 after completing my training as a full spectrum doula and becoming a certified Reiki practitioner, which I'm now a Reiki master teacher in 3 different traditions. I immediately had a passion for just sacredness of life and connectivity. And I really feel that there's a gap in holistic care. People feel like it's not obtainable or understandable for the everyday person. And that's what my business is all about, bringing the sacredness and spirituality and holistic care back to everyday people, particularly women, because I have always wanted to serve my sisters.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Listen, I love the energy that I'm getting in the room. And I actually, it's so fun. I know we're talking about the overall business stuff, but I have been learning more about the chakras and really being aligned and things like that. So I think this is a beautiful opportunity to pull the two of you together and really foster this new channel and this new lane that she's going into. So Kashara, this is sort of the surprise, right? We have met with Brittany before you got on the show, and she has agreed to mentor you for the next 3 months.
Thank you.
Really make sure, yes.
You're very welcome. I'm so happy to do it.
I need y'all to drop a 1 or 2 or something, because this is huge. Usually in business, when you change your career, you don't have somebody to hold your hand and walk you through to the next level. This is what she's getting. So your way of showing some applause, I need you to drop something in the comments for it.
And let me just say this, Brittany, that is just such a blessing, and I'm very grateful. And it feels great to have someone to mentor you that believes in a lot of the things that you believe in and what you are transpired to be. So I'm very grateful, and I thank you so much for that.
Oh, you are so welcome, and I'm honored that I'm able to help you transition. When I first woke up, I'm spontaneous, but not spontaneous. So I'll sit on things, and then like once I decide I'm doing it, it's like that fast. So I sat on going into birth work for quite a while before I actually decided to do it. And when I decided to, I was like, I don't know how to get into this, and I don't know what to do. And just going through the educational part of it and having learned so much just from my experience becoming a mother and the women around me. I was like, yeah, we need more doulas, particularly doulas of color.
And, you know, I'm going to say I agree. And that was the reason why I wanted to become a doula, because I birthed 3 children.
Okay.
My first daughter, I had a complicated delivery, and I had preeclampsia. And so I had the epidural. It was a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so 8 years later, I had my daughter, my second daughter, and that was my first natural childbirth. And I was so not prepared. My birth plan was to have her natural with no epidural. But when that pain hit, I was like, what? Epidural? Oh my God. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing, and I panicked, and it was not such an experience, but I did it. You know, it was too late for me to get the epidural.
Yeah.
She came that fast, but I don't regret that at all. And so when I had my son, I was much more prepared. My last child, I was much more prepared, and I knew what to expect. So I had him with no epidural, and I was ready. I was breathing, I was walking, everything. I mean, I researched up and down around the clock. It was a better experience. But thinking back on that, I do wish that I had a doula. I think that it would have been a much better experience. And especially with my second birth with her, I really do wish that I had a doula. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to become a doula and become a childbirth educator and get involved with birth work, because so many women need this.
Yes,
definitely.
Not to leave the hospitals, but when you give birth in a hospital, it's so robotic, and everything is a rush.
Yes.
And if I can go back also, I would have probably had a home birth with my son. I know people think I'm crazy for that.
Beautiful, if that's what you choose.
Yes. And I also wish that I knew about water births. I probably would have done that. And if I did not have him at home, I would have actually had both of my last 2 at a birthing center, if not at home. So, but a lot of women don't know these things. Even when I was in labor with my son, you know, I was on all 4s, and I wanted to also squat. But the nurses and the doctor was encouraging me, get on your back, and I just didn't feel comfortable that way. And a lot of people
that's actually fighting gravity.
Exactly. It's harder to push, actually.
Y'all take a whole nother
if people don't realize that they have options, you don't have to give birth. And I'm not telling anyone to disregard what any doctor or nurse says, you know, but I just want women to understand the different ways that you can give birth and have options. You don't have to have your baby at a hospital. You don't have to see an obstetrician. You can see a midwife. So people need to know about those things.
Beautiful.
And a lot of people also have a birth plan to not get the epidural, but when the pain hits, they're like, oh no, where's the epidural? And they get it, and they kind of, you know, go off of their birth plan. So that's another reason why I feel that doulas and childbirth educators are very important.
Wow.
Most definitely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Let me tell you, first of all, you know, I think, you know, obviously all of us are moms, but when we think about, if I pull it back to the career bridge, right? I think about you, and just hearing you today, the passion that you have and the work that you've already started to do, it's just so enlightening to me. And it's so passion filled, because we've talked about this, you know, in your job right now as an officer, you see what happens when you don't have that nurturing from the very beginning. And I think that all that you've described so far really does illustrate how we can, like you said, give options and really think about how we can start from the true genesis, bringing children into the world and the love and the community and the surrounding of all of those different things and how it translates. So even though you're switching lanes, and people may say on the face of it that the two things going from deputy to doula seems so different, but you're a mom. All of these business women, and you know what, we're going to pop over because we have a lot of good comments. So Karen Q says, taking spiritual lane to new levels. Yes, this is what we're trying to meet the needs. And she's also agreeing that creating multiple lanes makes for a lot of success opportunities. Absolutely. Because you're helping, you're pouring into other people, but in doing that, you're also blessed.
Yeah.
Also blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like how the one she said multiple lanes.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Because that's what I'm in multiple, because I'm still with I'm in law enforcement.
Yep.
You know,
Creating multiple lanes makes for lots of success opportunities.
Yeah. But it's also good to have something else going on, you know, and something else, you know, especially if it's your passion.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, you know, law enforcement, you're still helping people.
Oh, absolutely.
You are still empowering people also, especially if you are in supervisory or a manager position, because you are leading people. So you still need to be empowering.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'll just keep riding in multiple lanes.
No, absolutely. Now, how much longer do you have in the certification course that you're in right
now? I would say maybe 3 months.
Okay.
Because this course is online.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'd say about 3 months. I got a couple of books I have to read, so I wanted to show people. I actually have. Sorry.
Don't scare my audience with those books.
And actually, 10 books that you said what? I'm sorry.
I said, don't scare my audience with all those books. We don't need them to come back.
Yes.
I'm messing with you. Hey, Rashida.
We have so many books that and I know that Brittany knows this. It's a lot of books because they want you to, you know, be knowledgeable. Because yes, you can have experience, but you also got to have that textbook. You know,
yes, most definitely. And not everyone is looking for the same experience. So it's very important to be well versed, especially when you start the postpartum training, or if you choose to do the birth and postpartum training, you'll see that the books expand to like multiple different avenues, because you will have to read books that are more almost like a medical textbook, you know, the way that the doctors want you to birth. And then, you know, you'll have to also look into the holistic side of things and alternatives and body positivity. There's a lot of different avenues that come along with bringing life into the world that we don't even realize.
Whenever I talk to Brittany, she always makes my mind like explode with thoughts about motherhood and things that, I mean, I'm a mother too, and there's still a lot that I have never thought about or considered. But thinking about it from more of I want to say business perspective. I'm pushing Brittany now. I need everybody here to push Brittany. We're trying to get her to write a book. Let me tell you, she's always talking about the 4th trimester, and I want to bring it up for people who may not have heard of that term, because prior to me, Brittany, have a conversation with her, I never really thought about it. Now that may be intuitive for the doulas, but just for the regular doers, the mamas, like I had never heard of that term before, and it's really a powerful place because it's after all the birthing is taking place, and we know a lot of women suffer from, you know, postpartum depression and a lot of the things. Even just taking small steps to self-care and self-love, a lot of that stuff takes place in that 4th trimester, and so that's one of the things. Hopefully, we can look forward to seeing that as something that Brittany will bring to the forefront soon. But, you know, I'm dropping a lot of hints here. But
I'm receiving them.
You know, because you have to think about this. You've taken your time to pour into somebody else to come. So I want to also feed you too. These are things that you may say, you know, I don't want to put myself out there, you know, but you are saying yes to you, to what your calling is, allow somebody else to say yes. Right? This platform with the podcast is saying yes so that you all can say yes to one another, which will also impact the lives of countless people. We have no clue the true impact of what this union is going to do. Right?
Definitely.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited. Yeah, Rashida says, let's speak it into existence. That's why she's always super supportive. She's definitely want to stay out of her lane. Let's see what else we have. A lot of other people on. Let's see. Wow. Women empowering women. Absolutely, Charlie. Thank you so much for being on. Yep. And Sabrina says,
thank you, Charlie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know her?
Yes.
Love it. Helping others and encouraging. Absolutely. So listen, let's get into it because I know that you had some specific questions in regards to this transition and what it looked like. So I want to make sure that you get some of your questions answered while we're here. And so that if there are other things, we have a lot of people in business, Karen Q, that are on the line. And if you have specific business questions, we want to make sure that you are in a position to get your questions answered because we want to help you to make this transition as soon as possible. Because, you know, in 6 months, we'll have to do like Shark Tank, honey. We'll have to do a whole little video to show where you are now and what you are doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. So give us a couple of the questions that you have about becoming a doula and taking on this new lane in your life so that we can get some expert advice from Brittany.
Okay. So Brittany, I'm sorry, I'm going to look because I had my...
Yeah, no problem.
What are some specific roadblocks to watch out for when you're entering into work?
Okay. There's honestly yourself. If you are not careful, you have the ability to become your biggest roadblock because a lot of times we have a tendency to feel like we have to go at it alone or to feel like we can't put something out until it's completely perfect. We lack in networking. You know, social media is a great way to connect with people, but it doesn't take place of making actual business contact with people and showing face. Because although people can kind of get your vibe from your social media presence or a video or something like that, it doesn't always ignite trust. And in order to really see growth as a doula and as a childbirth educator, people are going to book with you because they trust you. The other thing that I would say is not to ping pong. So, you know, we have a tendency to, when we're first trying things out, you know, you have a vision of what doula work and what these child birth education classes look like for you. And so when you start trying to put that out there, you might not necessarily immediately get the feedback that, you know, that you would hope for. You may not get that full class. You know, you may have a class of 2 or 3, but that doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. I mean, it's not saying that you did everything right, but it doesn't mean that you just toss your whole vision for what you're doing out the window. You don't toss the baby with the bathwater because you know, because the water was a little cold. You know, you can tweak things as you see fit, but you're not going to be able to tell what's really working for you and what's really not if you're consistently changing the program. So consistency, not jumping back and forth. As far as the work itself, there's really not a whole lot that will hold you back. It's just making sure that you are saying yes.
Committed. Yeah.
Yes. And we have a question too that folds right into that. And I think, Karen, you have to know her personality. She's just so sweet. But listen, this is a real question. And I want us to talk about it, spend a little time here because she said, how many years can we stretch out that 4th trimester of self-care?
Okay, well,
we don't do it.
The great thing is that we don't have to stretch out 4th trimester self-care because we should have self-care regardless of what phase, trimester, whatever phase of life we're in. We are all deserving of self-care. Particularly the 4th trimester talks about the first 12 weeks of an infant's life, and that's the point in time where mother's healing and baby is getting used to the idea that they are a separate entity from their mother. At that point, they have, you know, they weren't around out in all this lights and space and noise, and they were cocooned and warm and snuggled 24/7. And all they heard was mommy talk all the time, probably, and mommy's heartbeat. And so when there's an adjustment period where not only is a fundamental healing happening for the mother, and that's really a period where, unfortunately, we don't give it as much attention as we should, but where rest and slowing down should happen. But it's really where baby's like, oh, I am my own person.
Yeah.
Right.
But self-care should happen regardless, because if we're not filling our own cups up, we're not good for anybody. We're not good for work, for our friends, for our spouses, for our kids.
It's true. It's so
and
funny.
this is the reason why I want to go into postpartum doula. So I do want to do birth doula as well, but I feel that for me, postpartum doula is very important, because that's something else that I didn't really have after I had my children. Just coming home and, staying up and waking up and breastfeeding and everything. And I believe that that's why a lot of women fall into postpartum depression. And, they looking at themselves like, oh my gosh, I look a hot mess. I got this baby fat and some stretch marks and hairs everywhere. And they haven't, gotten their nails done. And they're just all over the place, So I feel that in that book, you definitely need to write that book. Definitely.
You heard it right, Brittany. I am a pusher. I am a self-admitted pusher.
It would help. I mean, just thinking back about, for me, my friends, my sister, that would really, really be a great thing.
Yeah, and I remember you both kind of talking about that. Like I said, Brittany always talks about the 4th trimester, and I know that you've also mentioned a lot about having a focus on postpartum. On postpartum work and birthing, that area of it. And so that's why I really wanted to pull you two together, because I feel like there's a common thread. Because what I understand is that there are so many different ways, just like any discipline, you can focus on so many different pieces or different elements of the birthing process. But because you have this similar thing, I think it's so important. Like, Kara's been a mom for years. I've been a mom. My son is 11, going to be 12. I will admit this. I'm going to tell a personal story. Do not judge me. Actually, I don't care, but this is just the funniest thing. So I think it was about a week ago, my daughter spent the night out for the very first time. And I almost had a fit. Like, I came home, I told Kashara, I was like, oh, boo-hoo, and I cried like a baby. Like, literally I did, because they were, kind of playing around and dressing up and stuff like that. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God, this is the little baby that was inside of me. And now she's trying on heels and walking around and like, she's owning these heels, okay? This is not like I'm flopping to the side. She is owning the whole situation. And it took me to a different place, because as moms, and those who are moms on the line, not to make it just for mothers, but even aunties, those who are helping raise these babies, we get to learn our children, girls or boys, every couple of years. Like, they're different people, right? And we're different people.
Most definitely.
And it can be scary. So the role that you play, even though we're talking about becoming a doula and switching careers, it's so much more than that. With the role that you play, and I'm sure that you know this, but the role that you play is so important, which is why I really wanted to make sure, Kashara, that you got this nurturing, even in this stage of your life, right? You're grown. But I know that you are in such great, capable hands with Brittany, because she has really taken it seriously. Now, Brittany, one of the things that you don't know about Kashara that I'm going to share with you is that she has confided in me, which I'm now airing it for the entire world, that she would be willing to work with you, for you.
I think we're frozen.
What you do. So I want to make sure that
you froze.
I did?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no problem. No, I was trying to say that you had agreed to work with her for, sort of like with her, for her, just to really get that entire tutelage, be under her umbrella and get the whole experience firsthand. Okay,
Yeah.
and so these are one of the things that I wanted to kind of really get you guys together. And one of the things that I want to pledge to do with you, because Stay Out Your Lane, like I said, is really taking off. And shameless plug, we are now trademarked, so I'm really excited about that. But we're also doing some branding work, and we do, website development. We do books. We do all kinds of things. So as my pledge, because you're the first one in our second season, when you are ready to get your website together, we're going to do it at like half the cost, because we want to see you succeed, and we want you to be profitable, and we want you to impact the world, and you serve.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, you have been such a blessing, girl.
Oh,
that is amazing.
I'm sure I butchered your name. I'm so sorry. That's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, you have support, which is why I was rallying so hard this week to make sure we got a lot of people on, because that's what we need. We need a community. Karen, congratulations. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, we want to see you succeed. Now, I know you had a couple more questions, and I want to take that, and then I want to get some feedback from the audience if they have some other questions, or if they have some thoughts, like I said, some business suggestions, thoughts, input for you, because this is a community. Stay Out Your Lane is a community. It's a lot of lanes, but it's a lot of people in different lanes that cross over. So I want to make sure that we're getting you out here. Hey, Janae, thank you so much. The people, they are excited for you. So
thank you.
Question,
I appreciate it.
Yes.
It. Thank you all. So I do have another question for Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about pro bono doula services in childbirth education classes? And I'll tell you why I asked that after you answer.
Okay. So this is a bit of a complicated answer.
Okay.
I feel that some of the women who are most in need of support and childbirth education typically, unfortunately, cannot afford it. They are typically in low income situations, and there aren't a whole lot of options for them. And I think that in those instances, certain strives to make things accessible for everyone is necessary. But I also think that it's very important to maintain sustainability, because the type of work that we do is as gratifying as it is, as beautiful as it is, and as much as it is a gift to be involved in such a sacred process in someone's life. It's a lot. It's a lot to take on, and it can be, if you are taking back to back, or classes full of pro bono, you're not leveling, you're not having that balance. Then we end up in a situation where you're overextending yourself just to meet your bottom line. So I do think that in certain situations, or in certain ways, the way that I would have it, or that I would set up, and of course I can't tell you how to run anything, but just what comes to mind as a way to make it possible is, instead of having pro bono classes, what I would do is, for each class you do, maybe raffle 2 seats.
Okay.
So, or, depending on the size of your class, because 2 seats may be a lot if your class is 5 people. So in that instance, you may want to raffle 1 seat. I think that in a lot of cases, people tend to appreciate more what they've invested in. So I am more likely to suggest using a sliding scale if someone that is looking for doula support to be in a situation where they can't really afford, what a typical doula pricing is. A sliding scale would, to me, would be best, only because really they're not just investing in doula support, you're investing in them. And your time and your energy and what you're sharing is very important. And you need to know that the people that you're working with are going to take your time and your craft and your gifts seriously. So I think that in certain instances, especially because I think I kind of went through similar starting out, you feel like, I'm kind of the new kid on the block. I just want to get my feet wet. Who am I to be charging anyone? Well, no, like, educated yourself. Like, you took your time and you did these classes and you read these books that, when people come to you for a class, it's because they didn't want to read the books. They want you to read the book so they can come to your class. So for me, we have to get past, this is something that's also very important to get past as you're starting a business. You have to get past the icky feeling of talking about money. Because we're programmed to feel like, oh, money's the root of all evil. Money is bad. Oh, wait, I want to be humble. I don't want to seem like I'm greedy. No, of course, be fair. Figure out what your bottom line is and what you need to sustain yourself and your business. But like, money is not bad. It's not evil. Money is energy. And that is an energy exchange between you and your client. And that is helping to sustain you so that you can pour into them.
And that's really powerful. That's really, really powerful. You don't think about that. But it is an energy and it is a thought. The more that you make, the more you are able to impact people, the more you are able to give, the more you are able to help others, to see your family succeed, to generate generational wealth, and to see your family succeed and your friends succeed, and just to be a blessing just for no good reason. And I think that was honestly, a very, very good question. But actually, Sade, she said that's a very good point regarding pro bono work. That's an amazing question. And a lot of times you do feel that way because, like she said, you feel like you're a new kid on the block. Or some people who are more seasoned still have trouble. Sometimes I even have trouble saying, oh, this is my fee or this is what I charge. But you have to understand that you're not paying me for that service that I'm doing, like you said, for those 3 minutes. You're paying me for all the books I read. You're paying me for all the experience that I gained. You know what I mean? This is the thing that you're really paying for. What you see is what you get, but you don't know the backstory. It's like the iceberg, right? You see the top, and it's just this tall, but what you don't see underneath it is this long. You're paying for the total package. And as you build your business, Kashara, I think that's one of the main things that you really have to consider. The imposter syndrome is beast, right? It's a beast no matter what phase you start your business. And we have to make sure that we're constantly feeding ourselves and manifesting positivity and creating good energy around ourselves, right? And I think that's one of the things that you also mentioned too, that you want to eventually get into like herbals, and you want to get into, a lot of things that surround it, because this is it's a lifestyle. So it's a community. It's not an isolated or a closed, siloed thing that you just get into. You have to really, really kind of get into the whole thing, the holistic, because it's, like you said, once you've done it, first time you did it naturally, you didn't really feel so good. The second time you prepared yourself a little bit more, and as you thought about it, the third time you were taking it even further and done it from home, right? So it's a whole lifestyle. Let's see, hold on, I got comments here. Once you're up and running for a minute, another option is partnering with a nonprofit or for-profit business that can sponsor your services, so you can get and are able to give services to people in need too.
And that's why I asked that question, because reflecting back,
thank you.
I had my first daughter when I was young, very young. And so being that age, I definitely would not have been able to afford any childbirth education class or doula, even if I had known about it. And so I do want to, at a certain point in my business, I do want to give to the young girls.
Yes,
definitely.
That they don't even know what they're walking into. From
most definitely.
The delivery room.
And
and even in a postpartum stage. So I do want to get to a point where I am giving to some of the teenage moms in the community and helping them, because in urban communities with predominantly Black, I'm just going to say it, This is why we don't know much about it, because people, it's a lot of teenage moms and young in Black communities, and they don't get the opportunities as someone who is already established and they're, 30 years old, married, having a baby. They're able to afford child education classes and doulas, and they're able to stick to their birth plan. But someone that's young, they don't know what they're walking into. I really would love to someday be able to give to young girls.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
that
inspire them to want to become a doula one day.
Yeah,
absolutely. You don't think about that as a career option, right?
They may say, she helped me, and
yes,
I want to do this. It's still more Black doulas.
Yeah,
most definitely, and that's very important. I wasn't quite as young, but I had my daughter at 22, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. My first birth experience with my daughter was quite traumatic, and the doctor actually, when my husband walked away and my mother had left the room, which asked me if she said, well, if you want your tubes tied, I'll do it now. Which in Maryland State, you have to have at least 3 kids or be 30 before they'll tie your tubes. So, I
information.
Yeah. And there's a lot of birth disparity, not just with ageism, young girls who don't know any better, but with women of color in general, which is why Black doulas of color are so important, because unfortunately, given birth disparity in our country right now, Black women are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than a white woman. We're also more likely to experience infant death within the first year. And they have done research on all of these things, and it is not genetic. It is not a predisposition or something that is in our DNA. It has to do with the medical culture and the birth culture in the U.S. Which is why doula work is so important, because having a doula can teach you things like an acronym that I scream it at almost everybody. It's BRAIN. The acronym that's what it is.
Okay, tell me what's BRAIN. What's BRAIN?
So BRAIN is B, benefits. What is the benefit of this test, this treatment, this course of action? R, risk. What is the risk of this treatment, course of this test, this action, whatever, fill in the blank? A, alternative. Are there any alternatives to this treatment or to this test, fill in the blank? Intuition, intuition. What is your gut telling you? Because we often, when we're in a medical space, we stop listening to ourselves because we're taught that we're not supposed to question medical professionals, but a medical professional cannot tell you how you feel. And then N, which either stands for not now or nothing. And so nothing would be what happens if we do nothing. Not now is when you or your partner says, am I or my baby, or is my partner or our baby in immediate danger? If the doctor's answer to that question is no, then you follow up with, well, I think we would like a minute to talk about this, because you don't have to give an immediate answer. And so people feel like just, you're getting all this medical jargon thrown at you, and it's worst case scenario this, and this can happen, and it's anxious and you're scared and you feel like you have to make a decision right away. In a lot of cases, you have 15, 20, 30 minutes to spare to sit down and look at all your options. This is informed consent. This is the first line of defense and advocating for yourself and your baby.
But I think that's really important that y'all bring to the table. I think that's really important that you bring that to the table, it's almost like a student in school who has an IEP and has somebody who's there helping them along to make sure that they understand what's in front of them. It's sort of that. If I can equate those two things, a lot of people can relate to that. So I'm really learning a lot, and I really feel that between the two of you, the medical world and the birthing world has a whole lot to fear, because you're going to really inform women. And I know, Brittany, you have a course coming up, a class coming up.
I do.
Can you talk about that a little bit? And then I want you to go into one last thing before we close, is the birthing way ceremony that you, because it's a sacred thing, but I want to kind of go into that just a little bit.
Okay. So I'm having a tea ceremony at the end of the month where we're going to be exploring our moon cycles and learning not only the scientific formula behind our cycles as women, but also the spiritual side of it, and understanding how to facilitate and use those energies at the different points of your cycle for your greatest good. Because if you are able to learn to just look at the calendar and say, I know that I'm here, this is the third week of my cycle for me, then like, oh, from this teaching, you'll be able to say like, okay, I can expect these types of emotions. I can expect this type of energy. I know that this hormone is high, which, it really blew my mind, because I'm actually a full spectrum doula. So I was trained to help with not only birth and postpartum, but conception as well, because there are a lot of women who unfortunately do struggle to conceive.
Yeah.
And that can be a very lonely process for them. And so when you look at how the cycle works and the influx of certain hormones and the impact that they have on personality and just demeanor and energy. And so, for example, if you need to go to like a business meeting, you need to go like knock something out the park, you need to make a lasting impression, you want to go like around your time of ovulation, like around that time of peak ovulation, because the energy around you are going to be more confident. You're going to be a powerhouse. You're going to command the room, and men are going to naturally listen to you.
Wait a minute. I was listen. I was cool the whole show. You said men are gonna be cool.
I was going to say, because now the men are
talking a whole other language.
What?
Because I was going to joke and say, if men knew the secret to when we gonna act crazy, but when we gonna just be our whole self, they might want to just put that in a bottle and sell it.
But even so, coming to this type of event and getting this knowledge and learning to track your cycle and really harness the energies and what they mean for you, taking that home to your husband and like sharing like, hey, this is what this is, and that's really great, because then it's like, there's a level of understanding and respect there, because when I started doing that fertility training, I was like, this is the 6th grade health menstrual cycle education that we all should have gotten. There was somebody dropped the ball there. And because there's a lot of fear and stipulation of shame and, dirtiness around the female cycle. And no, it is a very sacred thing.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Along with coming to the event and, participating in the tea ceremony, we're going to do a group cleansing, learn how to chart your cycle, the breakdown of the scientific part, and then as well, the spiritual part. There's going to be some herbal remedies that we talk about to help balance hormones and for different things that may come up. And then at the very end, there's going to be the opportunity to receive the 13th rite of the Munaki, which is a shamanic rite. And the Munaki is a Peruvian a group of shamans, and the women, the medicine women of this tribe, came to the conclusion that women are carrying pain and fear in their wombs, which has caused disconnect from us and not only our maternal lineage, but from our power as women. So it's not mandatory, but for anyone who does come and participate with the event, that's something we're gonna do at the end.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing. These comments are just, I'm telling you, people, well, first of all, it's resonating with the ladies that are on. So that's powerful in and of itself. But Karen is so funny. She said, wait a minute, does that work with old eggs like mine too?
It works for everyone.
Everybody.
And I've had a total hysterectomy. You all know my story. You know, my cancer diagnosis, everything had to go because it was what it was. I thank Jesus I have my children already. But I do sometimes periodically still feel a surge, like a cramp almost sometimes. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, what is that? I have no ovaries, I have no focus, I have none of that. Everything is completely gone. Why do I still feel that? But I remember before when I did have a cycle that they would say the women that you're around most of the time when their cycles feel like your cycle starts to run together.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming because my mother-in-law's in the house with me, that we're all still kind of like flowing together somehow because we're all here in this weird way. Our bodies are so magnificent. Let me see.
And just to add on to that, Anissa, even with the full hysterectomy, your sacral chakra, which is your divine feminine energy center, cannot be taken from you. And I have done a lot of Reiki work on quite a few women who have experienced hysterectomy, and they typically need quite a bit of work in that sacral chakra afterwards to just kind of settle out the energies.
Well, that's I'm excited. I will be there.
That's very interesting. I mean,
well, maybe y'all be working together for this.
I can't wait to have our conversations offline.
Most definitely.
Another thing I wanted to add, because you mentioned the men, I do want the men that are watching to know that doulas and anything related to birth work is not only about the mother.
Yeah.
Dads, you all are very important too. And you all play a very vital role in that delivery room. I can say, shout out to my husband.
Yeah.
And he was my doula, and he did a very good job. And he kept me comfortable, and he did really good.
That's
really good. So it's good for men because they're nervous too, and this is their process too. They're not physically delivering a baby, but it's still their baby. They help conceive that baby, so that's their baby, and they need all the knowledge that they get.
Yeah, I've heard of men gain weight when their wives gain
weight.
Like the hormones for them were also raging and churning and all that, depending on how close they are.
And they need that, and because some freeze up in a delivery room, and
most definitely
overwhelming to watch a body come out of your spouse. Or your
I actually joke that birth doulas are actually for the men more than the women. Only because a man they do have that tendency to freeze up, or they're like, she's a little agitated, I don't want to do the wrong thing. What makes sense to me? Okay, I'm gonna retreat. So they end up in a corner. So the doula's like, hey, why don't you guys go do your hip rocks, your pelvic tilts and rocks. So why don't you go over there? Let me show you how to do a double hip squeeze. And so kind of guiding the husband or the father how to be a good birth partner and a present spouse, a present partner for birthing mother is so important, because a lot of times it's not brought up in the moment, but when she gets home and she's processing her birth experience, if he was in the corner because he was afraid that she might bite his head off, it's going to be 10 times worse when she's home and she realizes that she felt lonely because of his detachment.
Right. And so dads, you all attend the doctor's appointments. You all pay attention in the medication classes. You front and center.
Yeah.
And even in the postpartum period, you be there because she's going through a lot.
She needs
you.
Mm-hmm.
Men can also get postpartum.
Look, we have a comment from a guy too.
Yeah. Because even they may feel neglected in a sense, I think.
Oh, this is so sweet.
Because now everybody, you know, it's at first it was you and him, and now the baby's here, and she's like more focused on the baby and tired, and really like being bothered. So I feel like
it's scientifically proven within the first month of bringing a baby home, a man who's living, you know, in close quarters with a baby has an extreme drop in his testosterone. Wow. Now, from a biological standpoint, men are designed this way to stay put because when that testosterone drops, then they're more likely to, you know, they're not getting that itch to go roam and do things because
we need our 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
really
and not to say that not to make it seem like I'm saying men are out here being Rolling Stones or anything, but you know, we have to say back from we as civilized as we are, there's a lot of our DNA that still says we're cave people and or mountain people or whatever you'd like to call it. And so the drop in that testosterone kept the man with the woman and baby and actually increased both the woman and the baby's rate for survival because she wasn't having to do it on her own or hunt and carry a baby and you know, do all those things. So a lot of times that, you know, so men can get postpartum and nobody talks about it. They're just like, oh, well, you know, they're feeling, you know, which they do go through issues of maybe feeling neglected or disconnected from their partner. But there's, just like with women, there is a biological explanation behind it as well. And it's completely normal. It's not weird. And if you guys know any men who seem like they're kind of going through a tough time, like be the tap them on the shoulder and be like, hey, like you can have postpartum too, and that's okay.
And we can
get business.
So,
get the juice, get the bottle, get the whatever.
Any men commenting? Because
it was a guy. I really wanted to read his comment. He said, "Being a part of my children being born are the proudest moments of my life."
Oh, that's nice.
I feel like that's the highlight of the whole show, honestly, because you know, women we're quick to say how we feel, good, bad, or indifferent. But to hear from a gentleman, thank you for sharing. I really feel like that's important. And I feel like because we have these men, if you're interested to come to this course too, I'm sure that it would be this class, keep saying course, this class, it would be beneficial for the whole family. Now, I know we have to pull things together, but we did have a couple of comments, and I just want to further solidify how important and needed you are. Michelle says, I wish I would have known about a doula for my last child. I'm learning so much listening to you.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Michelle.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
So many women, I mean, including myself. I mean, so many women.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't hear about a doula and home births and all that stuff until my kids were born. But I think that it's really powerful, the work that you all are doing and will do. I'm just excited to be a part of that. What I would like to make available, not just for you, but, you know, as you're building this, you know, and you're passionate about it. I want to encourage you all, as you're talking and you're working together in your mentorship, to also talk about the foundation of how she establishes her business. Those things will be important for me, you know, as you're meeting here, because I would love to have you guys back in a few months. I want to talk about how things went with your class, how things went with the course that she's going to put together, the class that she's going to put together, your graduation. You're in nursing school as well. We want to hear and get an update about that. Just everything that's going on, because we know that Brittany's established a formidable business and she's working and she's doing her thing. So I want to make sure that we come back in a few months, have you both on, and just kind of see how things are taking off. And We're gonna need that book. We're gonna need the book.
Yeah.
Like, can we get a book?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I need it. So listen, everybody who has commented, shared today, I want to thank you because this is so encouraging. If you guys also know of anyone looking to stay out their lane, let's see how we can do another matchmake and pull some people together. Now, one last thing I wanted to mention is I have this thing now in 2020. I'm really trying to share my gifts. Now, the same way that this podcast is able to do different things, people have different things that are on their mind. And I believe that every single person has a story and a story worth sharing. If you are interested in learning about creating and starting your own podcast, I have a course coming out. And so I want to put that out there because now we're on YouTube, and at the end of the month we'll be on all of the iTunes and Android, all of those different venues so that you can get this information, because sometimes you don't know what you need until it's introduced to you, right? But the same way I have a story, you each have a story. And so that may be one venue in order to get it out to the world. So I'm trying to help you with that. Again, to my guests, I'm in love with both of you ladies, and I'm just so grateful and thankful that you shared your time with us. We'll get you guys on the books for a couple months from now to just check in on you and see how you're doing. Thanks again for everybody who's on. Any last questions from folks who are watching?
Not to interject, but I think that we promised them that I would explain the blessing way.
Please.
Yeah, because I want.
So I promise I'll make it.
Understand about the blessing way. Please.
I promise I'll make it short.
No, go ahead.
So, a blessing way is a sacred ceremony where basically you call together a woman's community, her tribe, and so these are all the women or important people in her life that she wants to solidify connection with and get support from as she gets ready to go into labor. This is typically done at like the end of the 8th or beginning of the 9th month. So right before she's getting ready to prepare to give birth. And it's very simple. There's group cleansing that's done. There's a labor like text chain that started for support. Everyone brings a special bead that's then laced onto like a I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's kind of like a meditation bead, like a mala, something that the woman can have to hold on to and just symbolize each and every person that came through and spoke blessing and well wishes for her and her journey into motherhood and her labor and her baby. Each person is given a candle to light when they get the text saying that labor has started. And there's a red cord of solidarity that everyone wears until the baby gets here. And that is to kind of bring a physical reminder of the connectivity of, of your tribe and your community. We can be so ostracized nowadays. Families are all spaced out all over the place, and social media has made it great because it's like our families and our loved ones and our friends are right at our fingertips, but that also means that we're not as present, and typically women can feel very very alone or very afraid. And so this is an instance where she's blessed, she's treated like a goddess for the day. There's everyone doodles some henna on her belly. They have
nice.
Doodle on each other's hands and stuff. She has a flower crown on, and she receives a ceremonial foot bath. And so it's really just about.
I just want to act like I'm having another baby.
Okay, yeah.
it's really about, it's a day of sisterhood.
That's nice.
And so a lot of times you'll see, typically, well, some moms, they'll want it with their first, but a lot of moms who, let's say you have, you know, 1 or 2 children already, and you may feel like, I don't want a baby shower, but I do want to mark this very special transition.
Yeah.
So then they may say, oh, well, maybe I'll have a blessing way. And then typically they're like, well, I need someone to orchestrate it. I don't know. That's where I come into play, because I come in and I'm kind of like the host. I bring all the spiritual goodies and just kind of keep the day flowing.
Well, you definitely have to get Kashara involved in that.
Oh, I definitely, I would love that.
I can definitely see that happening.
We connect so well. Yeah.
Awesome.
He has a lot of the same ideas that I have.
I want to make sure you guys get the audience to follow you all. This is Kashara's Instagram, Mommy to Be CBS. So please, guys, as you're on and you're watching, please go and follow them and support it and watch her journey. And if you found this valuable, like I said, please share this so that they can get their information out. Again, for Brittany, this is her Instagram as well, illuminating_bliss_11.11. And of course, if you are not following us on Instagram, please do so at Stay Out Your Lane Podcast, the same as here. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And we are also on YouTube now, again. So please follow the journey. Give Kashara all of your support. Also, please sign up for the class that Brittany is giving. As you can see, there's so much more to us than meets the eye. There's so much that we have to give to the world. And in order to show up our best selves, look, now I'm trying to figure out when would my cycle have been, because I need to show up in my meetings like bam. So, yeah, this is another guy on here. Oh, wait a minute. Is someone else on here? Kevin Crawford said, I'm still smiling from ear to ear. My daughter is doing a great job.
Thank you, Dad.
Look at that. Yes, she is. And I'm so proud of you, because you are truly staying out of your lane so that you can command your life's highway. And that is, at the end of the day, that is exactly why we created this venue. So kudos to you. Welcome again to everybody to the second season. We are on and popping. Congratulations.
Thank you for the opportunity, Anissa. Thank you, Brittany. It was so nice to meet you.
It was so nice to meet you.
And just learning from you. I'm so grateful for both of you ladies. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. I look forward to working with you and staying in contact and seeing your growth. And I know it's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah. Y'all going to work together. I'm going to make sure we keep this connection tight.
Yes.
Great job, ladies. Peace and love. Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for chiming in. I'm going to actually drop the information about your class at the bottom of the course. So if you're watching later, just chime into our YouTube channel. We'll also put it there as well. All right. Thank you so much. God bless you. Good night. Y'all know Russell Simmons. Y'all remember that back in the day, right? You got to go home. No, thank you for the conversation. 2 weeks from now, we will be back. We are going to be every 2 weeks now. So I have a family. I'm trying to keep my chakras in order in my house. So I can keep my marriage strong too. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
Bye. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Yes.